Hey, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Save Our Sisters Unplugged, where where we empower, inspire, and share stories to remind you that you are never alone in this journey of life. Today is a celebration of Save Our Sisters Unplugged's 100th episode. I am so excited to be interviewed today by the man, the myth, the legend, my brother, Mr. Joseph Matrix George. Now, of course, we're going to go by Matrix because, we are day one. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And Matrix is going to go ahead and introduce himself.
Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a beautiful day here in Florida, and it's great to be on Save Our Sisters podcast. And it's also especially extra great is to be celebrating this 100th episode with my dear full sister, Norine Fahie. She's
I
come a
know you
long
ain't seen
way.
on Norine Fahie.
She's come a long way with
You
this
trying
with
to
this
make Mr.
podcast.
Foy divorce me?
Support. Oh yeah, support. Sorry, but he can beat me up later, but that's all right. I could take it.
He
Um,
gonna be like, wait a minute, she done marry somebody else, man.
exactly. um, I am Joseph George, and I'm an international arbitrator and mediator. I handle cases globally, internationally, in Japan, China, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, India, Nigeria, Ghana, pretty much all over the world, as well as the U.S. Virgin Islands and outer line uh, islands in resolving all type of disputes. And again, today is a great pleasure to celebrate my sister's Save Our Sisters 100th episode. I mean, wow. I mean, how time flies.
I know.
I remember when you was building the website and we were just doing team colors and textiles, and here we are at 100th episode. I mean, time sure flies when you're having fun and when you have the passion for something. So we are pressing for time, and we're a little bit behind because of technical difficulty as always. So we're gonna just jump straight on into the boat and cast off. So
Exactly. Because
so go ahead.
well, I wanted to say before you jump in and listen, normally I'm the one doing the interviewing, so I'm going to try not to like interrupt. I'm going to try and sit back and be interviewed because, I have the takeover spirit sometimes. But I wanted to say it's such an honor to even have you interview me because yes, you have been there from the website chronicles,
Yes, trials and
website gate.
tribulations.
Exactly. You was there from website gate. You was there from the implementation. You was there from the name, Save Our Sisters Unplugged. You have really been there for me during this entire process. You sent at least 4 or 5 people to be guests on the podcast. So I really appreciate you being here. And it's because of your support and the support of some other people close to me is why I really stuck out with this because it got frustrating at times. There's some times that I really wanted to just say, you know what, let me just quit this and maybe stay in my lane. But when you get one person say, you know what, Noreen, this episode really sat with me. It really spoke to my spirit. That's the kind of motivation that kept me going. So for you to be the one to interview me, it is my pleasure.
Thanks. And it seems like today we're not just only brothers and sisters, but it's great to share with people and everyone who is watching that. If you have siblings, it's always great to have your siblings back to be there for them because sometimes we all go through silent trials and tribulation because somebody's not telling you what they're going through doesn't mean they're not going through something. And I've always been the one to always be there for my sisters. So am I my sister's keeper? Yes, I am. um,
I love it.
I just love being there for my sisters. I like to be their protector, their shield. Any harm that's coming to them, I have no problem being in front and taking the blunt of everything. And again, it's great to be here and share this with you. And I'm giving you my flowers. You've been there, and I know where you come from, and we've know the struggles, and it's good to see that you're taking some of your own internal things that's going on, and you're actually sharing it with other people to help them solve their own internal things that they have going on. So it's always a blessing when we could give back to the community out there and share what we have, our strengths and our weakness. Because sometimes people think if they reveal something about their past, that means that they're weak. Actually, that means that you're strong. So empowering other women to come out and express what they've been through. You have been doing this for quite some time, and I've watched the episodes, and I've watched some women, some laugh, some cry, some sad, some be reborn. But you are pretty much the phoenix um, podcast for these women to rise up out of the ashes and become something better than what there was yesterday, to be better today. So again, it's my pleasure to be here and celebrate this 100th episode with you. So we can jump on into these questions, because it's normally we are in reverse roles. I'm usually being interviewed by people all over the world. And now I'm a host, and
There you go.
I am
Listen, I'm trying to
loving it.
set you up. I'm trying to set you up for Oprah's chair. I'm trying to
Oh
set you
boy.
up for your TEDx stage. So the
Oh
more you
boy.
get to interviewing and speaking and doing all these different things, listen, just
I'm
remember
not
me when
even
you
gonna
get to
say
the top.
Oprah. I'm looking at more Eric Thomas. I'm looking. I'm setting the bar real high right now.
There you go.
Eric be out there talking about beast mode. you know. So, so what was the original inspiration behind Save Our Sisters Unplugged, and how was the version evolved over time?
Well, I had a group called Save Our Sisters, right?
Mhm.
And I started that out in 2019, I want to say. Yeah. No, 2018, July of 2018, I started that group. And then, it kind of evolved a little bit. Well, I think it was 2019, as if I wasn't there. But
Mhm.
anyway, yeah, it was July of 2019, because I remember, we started getting on the ball, and then COVID hit. So we were meeting in the library. It was just a couple handfuls of women, and we would talk about any and everything. We were just there to just let our hair down and really just be there for each other and hold space for each other and listen to each other's stories and help us through things that we were going through personally, professionally, and then to teach our young daughters, should give them an example of how women communicate and how women, network. And then COVID hit. And I was like, well, everybody's moving online. We got to have our 6 feet distance, and social distancing was a thing. But I still wanted to carry it on, but I wanted to reach a broader audience. And of course, so many people were starting businesses online back in 2020.
Oh yes.
People was baking bread and starting businesses. Remember when people was just baking bread like really ridiculously?
Yep.
And then I said, you know what? Maybe I should just take this online. And then this would be the unplugged version. So I created Save Our Sisters Unplugged, based out of a real life group, which is now a not for profit organization. And we actually, um, have a scholarship program. We gave out our first scholarship in 2024 to a nice young lady who just happened to be from Jamaica. That wasn't strategic, that was just God. From one of our sister islands. Very proud of her. Her name is Willan Jackson, and she's just going on to do great things. And so we are working now on a mentoring program. And so we wanted to take some of those things and incorporate it into the podcast. And by amplifying women's voices on a podcast level, it can be heard around the world, outside of like just being relegated to a library conference room. And so that's really where that started. That gave me my start for this podcast. And it started out slow, because everything has to be marketed.
Oh
When
yeah.
you start something, the word of mouth, but you working until you get into do it. So when you start out, you don't know how to market yourself, right? Because
Mm.
if people don't know you, you don't know how to put yourself out there outside of being in person. So now you have to learn a whole new way of marketing yourself digitally. And then I didn't even first start out by doing live videos because I don't like being in front of the camera. So being behind a microphone, was my way of saying my truth. But then, people was like, well, you gotta get out there. People are doing vlogging more now, and it's good for people to see the person behind the microphone and all these things. And I was like, oh my God, I got so stressed out.
As we all
Because
do when we are growing into, I like to say, growing into our purpose. Um,
exactly.
Stress is good. They say a diamond goes through a lot of pressure
Oh,
before
for
it could
sure.
be great. So anything that's going to be great has to go through a lot of pressure.
I love that.
It got stress points that you give. So some people take stress as bad, but stress is not bad. Stress is forming you to something great. So,
I like that.
um,
Look at you. I like that.
oh yeah, little brother has grown up.
I'm telling you, okay,
What it
baby,
says,
proud.
sometimes it pays to go to school. Sometimes,
Well, I mean, that kind of helps.
yeah. So, can you describe a pivotal moment early in your life or career that shaped your mission to empower women and build community?
Well, my pivotal moment was when I discovered my worth. Because, as women, when you grew up in particular households, maybe you don't have someone that's building you up and pouring into you as a person. And
Hmm.
so my pivotal moment came when I discovered my worth and realized that I am built for greatness, and I don't have to suppress my voice anymore. I don't have to be oppressed by the things that other people may feel should be family business or should be personal business, private business, what family matters, whatever. So once I gave myself permission to tell my story, I wanted the whole community to share their story. And
Okay.
that's really where I'm at with that. I think it's so important to really give people well, by example, give them permission to really share what's going on with them as well, because a lot of times there's a lot that's going on that no one knows about. And when you bottle things up, just like you're talking about the pressure for that diamond, well, we know what happens when you shake a Coke bottle. When you keep pressurizing it and shaking it and shaking it and shaking it, and one day it's just gonna burst out and explode. So in to you know, not have that happen, once I gave myself permission to free myself and share my stories, it was to inspire the community of women and men, because I've had men share their stories on my podcast as well. And so that kind of like helps to build a community as well.
Okay. That sounds just. So let's you're on your 100th episode now. So reflecting on the journey from your first episode to your 100th episode, what has surprised you the most about your growth as a host and storyteller? What's your story like? Let's dig in there. Let's have some fun with this.
Well, you know what? The fact that I could sit in front of this camera and not be like trembling in my boots, so to speak, has shown my growth. I used to get so much anxiety just from being on the camera, that
Did you get the
I don't know.
butterflies in your stomach? Because I used to get it with my first interview, the butterflies in my stomach.
This might be too much information, but sometimes you get a little nervous poops, you know.
Yes, you do.
Sometimes you get so nervous, you're like, oh my God, and not only that, when you have technical difficulty and you don't know the person that you're interviewing, you don't know how they're going to take it. They're going to be like, oh, she's so unprofessional. And I've since relaxed about that. I've actually appeared on an episode, and this lady, she interviewed me. It was on her platform, and she interviewed me. It's a lady from Dominica. I don't want to really put her name out here, but um, Dr. Wallace. I I interviewed her on her podcast, and my camera went out in the middle of the interview. Now
Hmm.
I was freaking out, but I continued to watch what she was doing, and you know what she did?
Hmm.
She
What?
was talking the whole time. She was talking the whole time. She just rolled right into it. And then when my camera came back up and my audio and everything was back in place, just rolled me right into what she was talking about. And I was like, see, this is what I aspire to be like. So
Yeah.
I'm not where I want to be yet because I was freaking out because it was my platform that was messing up. Now, had it been her platform and she was messing up, I probably would have carried on the conversation myself too. But because, it was no, actually it was on her platform, but my platform and I'm the guest and it was messing up. It was just really doing too much for me. I was like, "Oh my god, this lady's not going to invite me back." But no, she was rolling. And when I watched the whole thing back, you couldn't even tell that, like, it was, you could see that I was missing. But she was just so comfortable in who she was. It just gave me inspiration to just keep that. So if technical difficulties come again, make sure you carry this conversation on.
Yeah, sometimes things just work out. I've been in Zoom calls, and Zoom go out, log me completely out, or decide to update, and then I come back on, and people still talking. I go, I didn't even notice I was gone, and I just continue acting like I didn't even know I was gone. So, so I do,
Exactly.
I do understand you, truly, from a standpoint of experiencing that myself. So how do you prepare for interviews, particularly the ones where the guests discuss trauma, loss, or healing?
Say that one more time.
How do you prepare for interviews, particularly the ones where the guest discusses trauma or loss or healing?
So, I was asked this at one point in a different format, but I generally never really thought about preparing to hear the trauma. I'm just like rolling with the punches with the guests. Just really just going through it with them like I'm in their emotions with them. I in the initial interview, so before we even get to recording, I have a chat session with them. And that's just for us to see if we gel well, see what they want to talk about, finalize how the recording is going to go, give them some information. But it also gives me a good feeling for what they're going to talk about. So when they tell me what they want to talk about, like there was one, I think the one that just really got me the most was trafficking. And the guest was just rich, and she actually trafficked herself and thought she could go into it to make a little money or whatever and then come out of it. But when she was very young. We all make some, questionable choices when we're in our early 20s, but she didn't really understand how that whole process worked. But when she in our sis chat, when she was telling me about it, I felt like all the hairs stood up on the back of my head. And so I kind of like being in that real time emotions. So
Mhm.
I don't really do a whole lot to prepare. I just jump in. Once you tell me if you want to, whatever you want to talk about, I'm like, okay, let's do it. We jump on because I feel it's not about me. It's
Okay.
not about me. It's about the person, and it's about their journey and how they got into it. So what they do is they share where they came from, how they got out of it, and then where they are today, because we want people to understand that you can come out of trauma. There is green grass on the other side of the fence of that. You don't always have to be stuck in where you are, and it doesn't define you,
Mhm.
right? Your trauma doesn't define who you are. You can use it as a badge of honor. You can reclaim it, rename it, however you need to move forward with your life, So I don't really prepare for it at all. I
And
just
I'll
jump
add
right
on to
in.
that just for the audience. Sometimes you got to use your trauma as your strength. You got to
Exactly.
use it as a crutch to hold you up and pull you together. And but don't forget it, because it's like a cut on a hand. It's a scar there. It's to remind you of where you used to be and let you know that you're not going back there again. So it's kind of like a remembrance. So I always like to say, use your trauma as your strength. So
Exactly. And before you go into that, I want to do a quick shout out to your friend here. Hear from my brother Joseph. Regards from Victor Baba.
yes, Victor Baba, thank you for coming through, my brother. Very good friend over there in Africa. I think he's probably in should be in either Kenya or Nigeria today.
Oh my goodness. Well, there's some good places to be today. Not in this 40-degree weather I'm experiencing here in Peoria, Illinois.
Yeah, I don't know. Their weather's a little bit different over there. Um,
Yeah.
so, um, so your podcast covers the topics ranging from trauma healing to sisterhood, faith, and self-development. How do you choose the themes that resonate with your audience?
I just go off the riff. Sometimes it depends on what's happening in the world in real time. Um, one of the themes that I had was it was when they how do I put it? When the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, and then one lady wanted to talk about her redemption story. And it was I don't know if I could say this on air, but it was her. She ended the life of her child in utero. Let's just say it like that.
Yeah.
Right. And so she wanted to talk about that. And so having that go on and her wanting to talk about that right around that time, you know, I just go with the flow. Sometimes I have specific things that I want to talk about, like sisterhood, because there are a lot of women that don't know how to interact with other women. They're not girls. You know what I mean? And when I say girls, I mean like they just they're jealous, they connive, they scheme, they're bullies, things of that nature. Things that just don't promote positive outcomes and positive communication. Like, you always want to put some other person down just to make yourself look good. Like nobody needs that. Nobody needs that. You don't know what people are in their life. They may be there today, but tomorrow they may be your boss,
Hmm.
you know? And somebody once told me, you better be careful how you're talking to people because you don't know if you're entertaining an angel.
That's true.
You never know who you're talking. So you always want to treat people with respect. And so having those different themes, like it just goes based according to what's happening, or some things I do intentionally put in there just because I need to make sure that that particular point is made.
Okay. So, what are some of the challenges you face in producing and sustaining a weekly podcast, and how um, you overcome them?
Oh my God. Some of my challenges had been time. Some of it had been time, because I like to plan things out. I like to make sure that everything sounds good, everything looks good. At first, when I first started, I wanted everything to be perfect. Even like people say, I don't even edit any of my episodes. Man, I would spend 4 or 5 hours editing an episode because I wanted to sound so perfect. And of course, this is before audio. This is
Yeah.
before I was doing audio. In audio, it is what it is because it's there, it's recorded, it's out there, boom, one time. But for the video, it's out there.
Yeah.
Everything is out there. But the audio, you can manipulate it a little bit. You could take out a lot of the ums and all of those filler words. But I just that was yeah, those were some of my challenges. And then not only that, trying to just really fit that in with my whole work life balance, that was kind of a challenge for me as
Mhm.
well. But now I'm 4 years in this thing now. So now I have really, you know, managed how to do that. I've really managed how to not spend 4 or 5 hours editing.
Okay.
Just let things be.
Yeah.
Some things are what they are. If it's a complete technical failure and it's in between two ends of a good conversation,
Yeah.
then I'll go in and I'll fix the technical areas and make sure that those make the whole clip sound really well. But as far as trying to balance everything, it used to be a really big struggle because you got children, you got husband, you got work, and then you have this podcast, and this podcast cannot come before everything else.
Yeah.
So
So, so how do you balance vulnerability and professionalism how do you balance the vulnerability when um and professionally when guests share deeply personal experience on your platform?
Well, I feel that vulnerability is actually the crux of this entire podcast. And the reason I say that is, how can people be vulnerable with me if I'm not first vulnerable with them? I have to be able to go deep myself before they might feel comfortable with going deep with me. So that again sometimes happens in those sis chats, in those initial conversations before we schedule our recording.
Mhm.
So they know that they could trust me with their story because I've walked in their shoes. I'm just trying to give them a platform to really share their experience. So
Okay.
vulnerability is very, very important, because then it allows them to, I mean, I've had people cry on the podcast. I've cried with them, and some things I've got angry, so, and this is why, I don't prepare, because I want to be fully present in the emotions so that I can, and not that I'm performing or anything. It is, I'm very soft-hearted. I'm like I'm a rose. I'm very beautiful on the outside, but there's a lot of thorns that you have to
Yeah,
get through. I
of
have a
course.
very rough exterior, but listen, I don't like to see people hurt.
It's the humanity in you.
Yes.
And if you don't have that, then pretty much you're either a product of your own self what is it, self resilience, or you are just hardening up because you had to create such a tough exterior to actually protect yourself. So
Yeah.
sometimes we got to take our own walls down and let people climb over them and experience what we have to offer. Um, so, what feedbacks from your audience has moved you most, and how it has influenced your content or your mission?
When we first started this conversation, I was saying that is the people that come to me and say, Noreen, this episode, it sit with me, it resonate with me. I've been there. Or for instance, I had a guy, that same episode that I was talking about, Trafficked. That's what it's called. It's called Trafficked. He listened to it, and he DM'd me and he said, Noreen, I've never shared this story with anyone outside of my wife. But I was where this lady was. I didn't traffic myself, but I had abuse, and this really sat with me. And so when you get that feedback, it's like, okay, people are listening, people are feeling it. So I'm doing something right. So it definitely aligns with my mission, because I really want people everywhere, women everywhere, to know that they are not alone, to know that there are people out there, men and women, that are lining up, boots on the ground, stilettos on the ground, to support them in their life struggles. So that's really what keeps me going. It really keeps me going.
Okay, so we can get a little bit personal because we both have
Oh boy.
our own little trauma. So we can get a little bit deep right here because again, we want this show is all about healing. We both have our mom that passed away. We both
Yes.
had our sister that passed away. Um, if there was here right now, and I'm starting with our big sister Sheila, if she was here right now, seeing you with this podcast, what do you think she would say to you right now?
You know what? I think she would have, first of all, be honest with us, because she would have been our co-host. I think they would be proud. One of the things that I have not shared with I can't even remember if I shared it with you, but before mommy passed away, she started sharing some of the things that happened to her in her childhood. And she didn't ask me to keep them a secret, but I already knew she was a private person. And so we grew up in the same house, but we didn't. I feel sometimes we didn't grow up with the same parents because
No, we
parents
didn't.
parents parent each child differently. And of course, since I was the golden child and
Yes,
I
you was,
never
and I
get
was
beat,
black sheep. So trust me, I know.
and I
I
never
still
get
got the
beat,
scrapes, wounds, and bruises to prove it.
I was always on the right side of the belt.
Yeah, and I was on the belt.
Exactly. But it was to me they were just disciplinarians. But when she started telling me some of the things that she went through herself, it made her more human. It made her not just my mother or not just the person that would discipline me. She became like my friend, she became human to me. She became like, "Oh, okay, so you do understand some things." But those that generation of women, those boomers, they're the gatekeepers of stuff. They don't tell what's been going on with them. That only started with our Gen X generation.
Hmm.
We Gen Xers, we're starting to tell, but the millennials and the Gen Zs, they're the ones that's like, listen, this is what happened. I'm gonna put it on YouTube. I'm gonna tell the world. And I'm with that. I'm with that because I think the world needs to hold people accountable for all the deep dark secrets that happen in the home that no one wants to talk about. Everybody could tell you, "Oh, stay away from Uncle Charlie. Uncle Charlie get a little handsy." Well, why can't you hold Uncle Charlie accountable? Why do I have to stay away from him? Hold Uncle Charlie accountable. And if he's handsy and inappropriate, put Uncle Charlie in jail or stop inviting him to family functions until he knows how to be appropriate.
Okay.
You know what I
Now,
mean?
yes. So now going from podcast host to now adding another accolade to you, now author
Whoop whoop.
of the Bonds of a Sisterhood. So how did you come up with that, and what inspired you, other than the podcast, what inspired you to write that book?
Bad friendships.
Well,
You know how people tell you, you can't expect everybody to be like you. Well, they should. The
yeah.
reason why the reason why I say that is, I mentioned before being a girl's girl. I feel like I'm a girl's girl. I will hold your secrets, but I will also correct you when you're wrong. And I will do it with love. I will be there to support you. I will hide your car in my garage. But I'm not going to tell your husband that you're with me if you're out cheating with somebody else. We're not about that life. you know so in writing the Bonds of Sisterhood, a guide to building your tribe, it was just, I wanted to just create a space where people can just say, oh, okay, these are the things I should look for in a friendship. We don't want toxic people in our life. We don't want to choose people like we choose our men or choose our women. We want people that are going to be good for us, that we would be proud to walk with, have stand up with you at your wedding, introduce to your family, your friends, your business partners. You want to go into business with them. You want to be able to trust them and have good, healthy relationships. And so even some of the areas of the book, why do women always side eye others? That's one of the chapters. Why do we side eye others? Why are we side eyeing each other? You're not any better or any worse than I am. You're my sister first before you're my enemy. You know,
Mhm.
are you your sister's keeper? You already said yes, you were. I am too. I am my sister's keeper. But if I can't cover you and correct you as your sister, then we cannot be friends. We talked about sisterhood in there. We need to really foster those relationships between women. We need to be more inclusive and not being so exclusive and all clicked up. And it's not because I grew up always being on the outside of the popular circle. I always knew the popular people, but they weren't inviting me to do nothing with them. Even as a grown woman, I'm not in the popular circle. I know the popular people. The popular people know me, but I'm not invited to the popular people's house. They're not saying, hey, Norine, you want to come and go do this with me? They're not doing any of that stuff. I don't love them any less. But if they were more inclusive, then we can build a nation
Yeah.
of really strong women. So
So
that's really why I wanted to write that book. I wanted to kind of like give a little blueprint. I mean, and hey, my blueprint may not be the standard, it's not the rule, but it's just a guideline, that just like it says, it's a guide to building your tribe. Some of the things that you want to look out for, some of the things that you want to look for in people. Don't just get in bed with somebody, vet them. Make sure that they're good. Search their Facebook platforms, get on their social media, see what they're into, check out their friends. Like a lot of people tell me, you just look so unapproachable. I don't know how, but
yeah,
I'm
people
like
say that.
this. Huh?
I said people say that all the time. They always tell people they're
Yeah,
unapproachable. I think it's not that people is unapproachable. I think if sometimes some people have bad intentions, sometimes I think they try to stay away from you if they feel like they can't use you in a certain way. They say you just look unapproachable. It's not that you're unapproachable, is that they don't know how to deal with somebody of empowerment season. And I like to say empowerment season because there's a season for everything. And sometimes when we go into the top, you have to get rid of certain people. You have to, like I say, trim the leaves off the tree. You have to prune them off because where you're going, you can't get it. Um,
exactly.
so looking back, what's one thing you wish you knew when you started your podcast that you know now?
Okay. And before I answer that, I want to shout out to the little bro here giving us some love in the comments. Shout out to Big Edgy.
And I
Thanks for
saw
tuning
Miss
in.
I saw Mr. Baba also say he's in Nairobi, Kenya.
Nairobi.
He said the weather's looking good there.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, ask me the question again.
So looking back, what's one thing you wish you knew when you started your podcast that you know now?
Man, I wish I knew that just because I have 1,000 followers on my Facebook, that I'm not going to have 1,000 downloads on my on my podcast. I
Yeah.
wish I knew that because one thing so here's the thing, and this is how I am as a friend. This is how I show up to other people. If you're writing the book, I'm buying the book. Okay.
Mhm.
If you're singing the song, I'm buying your album. I'm going to show up at your concert, you know. I'm going to be there on the, I'm going to watch you. Maybe if I don't show up with you on the red carpet, I'm going to definitely watch you on TV. I'm doing all the things. I show up, I try, at least I try. I try to show up for people because I want them to show up for me. And so my biggest thing was I thought that because I'm friends with all these folks, that they would just go ahead and download my podcast and share it out to their whole network. I have people that have hundreds of thousands of followers, and I'm like, why aren't you sharing my podcast? It is just one simple click, well, maybe a couple of clicks, but you know, support is free. Support is free. If I'm buying your book, I'm spending real money. If I'm going to your concert, I'm spending real money. I'm giving my time. But man, if you look and see that I'm doing a podcast or I have written a book, it's not gonna sharing that out is free, you know? And so sometimes people are just quote unquote not that into you. They're just laying on your beat and they might love what you're doing, but they're like, I'm not gonna share it. Who's buying her book? And some people just don't want you to succeed. I mean, that's just the hard truth. Some
I
people
like
just
to call those people, and I call them the silent haters. Because they're in your circle doesn't mean that they're clapping and cheering for
oh
you.
for
And, and,
definitely.
and and that's that's why a lot of business owners elite, and I say elite, they always say it's lonely at the top. And the reason why they say that, because when you rise into the top, you start to find out who is there for you and who's not there for you. Because today somebody sitting next to you and giggling and laughing with you, that's not the same person that when you're in need, that you could turn to that person and they're going to help you. Sometimes people want to see you fail more than they want to see you rise. So
Oh my
that's why I
God.
always tell people, don't lean on somebody for your growth. Grow yourself. know your self-worth, and go out there and capture your dream. Don't listen to the naysayers, because the naysayers always going to have something to say negative to pull you down or stop you from going up that ladder. So,
Exactly. Man, you could not have said that more perfect. That is exactly it. And you know what? I
and
have
family
always
members
learned
too.
that,
It's not just friends and colleagues, it's family members
oh,
too.
family be the ones. Listen,
They be the
family
worst.
be the
Let's not
ones.
let's not sugarcoat it. You know me. I'm I'm your little brother. You know my whole life I've always been blunt. We didn't get sugarcoat nothing here. Not with me. The
Not
family be
today,
the worst
Satan.
ones. They'll be the one that when you're down, they kick you more. And then
Exactly.
sometimes there'll be a stranger to pick you up and dust
And
you
and
off and put you back on the right path.
and just like you said that, they'll kick you while you're down, and then when you get picked up, when you pick yourself up, then they want you to pull them up when they're down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, come on now, life don't work that way. But yeah, it's definitely, there are definitely people out there that truly want to see you win, and there are definitely people out there that would look at what you're doing, but they won't support you. And you
Yes.
just have to make peace with it. And that was really my biggest takeaway, and my biggest what do you call it, enlightenment, is
Mm-hmm.
that not everybody is gonna like what you're saying. Some people listen and they say, oh, I listened to the first 10 minutes.
Yep.
I'm like, but what did you get in 10 minutes? You got the introduction, and then you didn't even get the meat and potatoes out of it. Like, I can't see me doing a 30-minute trauma episode,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because when people are talking about their trauma stories, you don't want to rush them straight through it. You want them to at least get out enough of where they were and how they got out of it. At least listen to that part, where
Mm-hmm.
they were, how they got out of it, and what they're doing now. The trifecta is important. But if you just listen to 20, 30 minutes of it, first of all, the algorithm, we need that to work. We
Yeah.
need the algorithm to pick up that you're actually listening to this thing. And the more that you listen to it, and you listen to the duration that you're listening to it, it also matters. So if you truly want to help me with these downloads, and help me to grow the empire that I'm building, the sisterhood empire that I'm trying to erect, listen to the entire episode. Share it with somebody else. Ask to be on the podcast. I would love to share your story, you know, and subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Save Our Sisters SOS. Subscribe to all the podcasts, wherever you're listening to the podcast, subscribe to it. You know, the book information, the book has its own Instagram page, you know, it's its own entity, but it's all based on sisterhood. And as a person that has had four sisters, you know, you would think I'd be an expert on it, but everybody is so different, and every sister
Yeah.
needs their own thing. You have a whole different relationship. It's just like parenting. You cannot parent your son the same way you parent your daughter. The conversations are different. Not because they're different people, but they're different. One's male, one's female. The conversation is just going to be different. So
So we are on your 100th episode. So where do you see your next 100th episode? And what would be the team? Is it gonna evolve? Is there gonna be like a franchise sequel to it where we're gonna have Save Our Sisters Dubai, Save Our
ah,
Sisters Nairobi, Save Our,
Nairobi. Listen, if your boy would hook me up with Nairobi and fly a sister out.
Save Our Sisters Japan. Um, is it, maybe who knows? We might be sitting down here and have one of those reality shows called Save Our Sisters reality TV show.
Listen, it might be Foy and George, or George and Foy studios. You never know. You
So where
never
do you
know.
see
And
your
we
next
might be
100?
producing hundreds of shows like this. But
Mhm.
for right now, I think I'm already evolving, because I have started incorporating men. It still keeps the message and the mission geared towards the women. So when the men share their stories, it's geared towards how women can be better to them. So for instance, when men share their fatherhood stories, they've listen, sisters, we put the brothers through a lot. When I was listening, I
Yes,
was
you
like,
do.
oh my
Yes, you do.
God.
You guys put us through too much. I still got my battle wounds.
When they
Y'all
talk
women, if
about,
y'all listening out there, ease up on the brothers. We working hard. 9 to
I know,
5.
especially with that child support situation and the
Well, Lord,
visitation,
yeah. Well,
and
I
withholding,
could say
using
I
the
got
child as
beautiful.
pawns.
I could say I have good kids moms that really they are there for me. They support me. We move as a one unit. So I don't have too much of the backstory like some guys do with the monster stories of bad baby mamas. I could say very have been blessed with the women that I've been dated. And I think that's my mom's prayers and God looking down upon me. And I think he got another purpose for me. So he didn't give me all the
Well,
crazy. He just made me crazy.
well, you are blessed in that area, but when the men tell their stories, I love that I always ask them at the end, when the women share their stories, I always end with a question. What what can you share to help other women through the struggles that you've been through? With the men, I ask them, how can women support you better on, in this area, insert area? What can we do as women to help you along your journey or to open up so you feel more comfortable sharing with us? Because there's some men that do not feel they can talk to their spouse, their partner, their sister circle, whatever. And then also don't even go out and talk to other men. So they just really gatekeep all their emotions and feelings until one day they blow up. So the evolution of Save Our Sisters Unplugged is incorporating the men because their stories are important, and we as women, we learn from it. And the crux and the mission of the podcast is not just to amplify the stories of women's voices, it's also to have us learn how we can be better women to other people, which includes men. So
Now,
having
now,
them on to share their stories, it just opens our eyes.
yes. So let me tag on. Let me tag on to what you said there. Now, and this is coming from a man's point of view, and I'm sure the man that's on here is going to agree with me.
Oh
The
boy.
reason men don't open up is because some women, not all women, but some women weaponize our own feelings against us. So men more shut down and keep their feelings or their trauma to themselves because he feels like if I tell her when we get in an argument, that's the first thing that comes out the mouth when a man and a woman argue. She takes his trauma and weaponize it
And
and
trade back
use
in
that
his
against
face.
him. And then
Yeah.
that's why men today don't share their trauma with the women. And the second part of that is a lot of men feel like it's weakness to share that part of them because a man is looked down upon as being the head of household, the strength, the backbone of the house. So if he seems weak in the household, then he cannot lead the household. So that's why most men that's under trauma would not share that with his partner, his spouse, or girlfriend for fear of it being weaponized or fear of feeling weak through the eyes of his partner.
And I
That,
agree with
that
that.
that goes
I,
with that.
I agree with that because men are taught to be tough. And I think that was the worst thing that anybody could really push into a man's head, that you have to be strong no matter what.
Hmm.
Because then there's no space for them to be vulnerable. And women are vulnerable creatures. And you know how they say women are from Venus and men are from Mars?
Yes.
We have to get on one planet. Either we both going to Venus or we both going on Mars. But in a relationship, we can't be in different planets, right? We have to be in the same place, and we have to have this. We don't necessarily have to have the same mindset, but we definitely have to have a strong foundation, which is built on communication, number one, and respect. So when we communicate, that's us talking back and forth about what our fears are, what we need from our partner, how we need people to show up for each other. What do I need from you as a husband? What do you need from me as a wife? Because when we assume those things or we expect those things, it is going to tear your relationship apart. And I was watching a show. It was Devon Franklin, and when he was with oh God, the sweet little girl, when they were married, I can't remember her name. I could see her face, but I can't remember her name. But they wrote a book together, and and when he appeared on one of my, I call it my ratchet TV shows, Married at First Sight. He appeared on that show, and he was counseling the couples, and he said, unspoken expectations is a marriage killer. And because men are mostly taught you need to be strong, sometimes people take it as you need to be silent, and that is not it. You cannot expect someone to perform the way you want them to perform if you don't give them the blueprint. Now, the blueprint isn't saying you're telling them what to do, and so now they're not being their authentic self, because some people take it that way. That's not what that is. You have to teach people how to treat you. And so having men share those things on the podcast, it kind of opens women's eyes on, well, let me take steps back, because now I'm hearing another man's, perspective outside of my man. Because maybe I thought my man was just doing too much, and he was just, being sensitive. And ladies, do not tell your man that he's being sensitive. Please do not do that.
No.
That is a relationship killer.
It's not a relationship killer. It's one good way of making him go silent and start planning his exit route.
Exactly, and we don't want that.
Planning the exit route. I'm looking for that door, making sure when I leave, I got my bag, my goodie bag with me, because when I'm gone, I'm gone.
Exactly. So that's why I want to evolve the podcast into including men's voices and amplifying their voices as well, so that we as women, we understand men. We understand them. Now they try to understand us. We're not as complicated as they make it seem. All you have to do is listen. Don't mark things down as nagging. Nagging implies I'm telling you something more than once. So why am I doing that? Why can't you just do it the first time?
Yes.
And then follow up. And if you can't do it the first time when I ask you, then say, babes, you know what? I can't do it today, but I want to do it on Friday. And then do it on Friday. Don't gaslight me and then dangle this carrot of you doing something and then you don't do it at all, until now I'm asking you over and over, when is this going to get done? And now instead of you saying and being authentic and being consistent and keeping your word, now it becomes me nagging because I'm asking you, when you're going to do what I asked you to do months ago.
Yes.
That's not how life works.
And let's, since we're on this subject, let's just shoot this out of the way, because I've seen it all over TikTok. I've seen it all over Facebook. And a lot of women is in an uproar because men go, what do you bring to the table? And they get upset because a man is asking them, what do you bring to the table? Well, you guys asking a man, what do he bring to the table? We bring a job, we bring stability, we bring income to you, we bring assistance. If you don't have financial assistance, we help you with that. We bring love. We could build a house. We could change the car. Well, most men could change car tires. I got a buddy still can't change a car tire. I've seen his wife change his tire, but that's another day for another story. But
and here's what your friend is saying. Listening is a low risk but high reward investment.
Yes.
I love it.
And to women, when a man asks you, what do you bring to the table? You want to make a man smile and want him put a ring on your finger real quick? Tell that man, you know what I bring to the table? I bring you peace.
Child, listen.
He might even put a ring on it right there and then. Might even share his bank account.
Wait a minute now. You can't just say you're going to bring the man peace and then you're stressing him out about when he's going to bring the ring now. That's not peaceful.
No, you can't do that.
You have to actually bring peace.
Him saying, You, a woman telling a man, I'm going to bring you peace, he might go ahead and put the ring on it, because see, a man is different. A man gets beat up every day. We go out at work. Sometimes we working with bosses who we are smarter than. Our intelligence is might be smarter than our boss, because in the world we live in today, people got positions only because the position was open at the time, and just a pulse was needed. So now that you come in with a skill set with the degrees and everything else, and you're smarter than your boss, now your boss is hitting you because you're telling your boss you're not in compliance with XYZ, and they're getting upset because of that. So then we go to the grocery store, we got to pay our bills. If we have family members and we are the sole provider for our family members, now we come home where family members have asking us for money, and now we got to come home to this girl, partner, wife, whichever the situation is. We want just to hear, baby, how was your day? Let us tell you how our day is. Let us unwind. Most of the time, and it's happened to me many times with women, when they ask me how my day was, and I start to tell them how my day is, for some reason it turned out to they're talking about how their day went. I done forgot.
Yeah.
I didn't even get a chance to even tell her how my day is. So now I don't
So
got all
holding
this.
space is important.
Exactly.
And
They
staying
don't.
and what I've been learning on my own journey is
Mm.
that when your man is talking, just learn to be silent and wait
It's
your
gonna be
turn.
silent. And to women that think that, oh, he's controlling me. No, we're not controlling you. We just want to get stuff off our chest that we had at work so we could relax. And most of the time, women don't let us get our own problems off our chest. They want to talk about stuff, or sometimes they'd be like, oh, you a big boy, you could handle it. Quit crying about that. It's just
Because
work.
we were taught the same lesson that you guys are tough. And that's one of the things that I've learned in a previous relationship was that men are tough. They can take anything. So I felt that no matter what I said, listen, you pissed me off. And of course, this was in my younger days when I was back in my 20s and I was not this refined lady you see before you today.
Mm.
But my tongue was venom. I did not care how it came out. I did not care what I said. I didn't understand the concept of respecting a man in that way. I thought that respecting a man meant, like the stereotype, cooking, cleaning, making sure he's taken care of, making sure the house is all right, and making sure you spend the finances appropriately. But nobody really digs deep and tell you all about how this all goes deeper for them, from woman
Yes.
to man, how your words can really cut so deep. And that's sometimes why men just don't say nothing to you.
Yep. And not only that,
So
this so for tough men, we have two things we always say. Two things we can't take. We can't take a bad toothache, and we can't take a horrible word from the woman that we love. Woman,
yeah.
if a woman say, I don't love you anymore, that cuts deeper than a knife wound. And a man would rather deal with that, get run over by a car, than hearing the woman who he's been spending his whole time with for years and turn around and say, I don't love you anymore.
You know,
That cut so deep.
and the flip side for us, if we cook a meal, if we have an argument that we cook and you don't eat it, we be like, oh, he don't trust me. Oh, he think I'm gonna poison him.
And sometimes to men, she just can't cook. Let's be real about
I
it.
mean,
Sometimes just order
listen,
it.
it don't matter what you cook. You don't want nothing from them. But this is
Just
why we want to open up the conversation for women and men to have them. And pretty soon I'll be opening conversations with more than just me and one person. It's gonna be me and maybe a panel. I've done that for like podcast day. I've done that for like mediation week. Um, but I think I'll be opening it up for conversations just like this. Like if we would bring our little brother up here, if we bring Edgy up here and the three of us have a conversation, about a particular topic. This is where I see the evolution of this next 100 episodes is going to go. So we get near our time here to close up. Well, I really enjoyed this conversation, and I feel like my pitch idea of you and I doing a separate podcast outside of this will work. This was actually actually a good tester. So if you are listening, no matter where you're listening from, if you feel that Matrix and I should go on a podcast outside of this particular Save Our Sisters Unplugged, put a thumbs up in the chat.
You see, you see, audience, and this is how family asks you to do stuff without asking you. You
Hey,
see?
we had a conversation about it. We talked about it. Don't be trying to come on here and act and got my people think I'm trying to control you. No, I think it would be good because the first conversation I think would be good for us just based on this conversation would be high energy men and women. Not high energy, high value
Yes.
men and women. So we're gonna do that. But unless you have something else,
No, I don't. I don't have anything else. I think we could close this here out. I think this was wonderful. Again, congratulations on your 100th episode. It's been very rewarding to be here and actually do this with you. It's to me, it's the highlight of the year for me. So this is a great way for me to close my year out. Is actually to share this opportunity with my big sister. So
oh,
I'm really honored to be here. And I always support you in whatever you do,
you
and
do,
I'll continue to be here and be the back for you as always. You know, whenever
you
you need
do.
to cry, whenever you need to just scream at somebody, most of the time I fall asleep, but I'm still there.
Mm,
I'm still there.
child. I got your back, way back.
Well, I still got it. It's just another sales pitch.
I suppose that's all that matters. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this has definitely been a good conversation. And you did pretty good as a host. I have to admit. I mean, some of your questions, I was like, well, wait a minute. Let me refocus my answer.
What they say, after being interviewed so many times, more than 70 times being interviewed, you pretty much feel like you is the host half the
Yeah,
time.
you pick up a few things. Well, before we go, let me tell the folks about George and George ADR Group.
Okay, George and George ADR Group is a dispute resolution firm based in Ponte Vedra, Florida, where we assist people in resolving their dispute. We have attorneys that we work with. We have judges on our panel. And if you have a contract dispute, landlord and tenant dispute, if you're being evicted, we assist you in that. If you have mergers and acquisitions, we assist you in those things because we do negotiations at the same time too. So we come in, we could either negotiate for one side or we could negotiate for both sides. Right now, we work with celebrities. That's why so many cases is not in the news like before, because celebrities have now realized that using arbitration or mediation as a tool to resolve the dispute confidentiality is better than going to litigation and end up in court and airing all that business out into the whole world. So they use firms like myself who actually come to them, or we do it by Zoom. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, we can actually assist you in resolving your dispute. And don't feel like if your language is out, we have interpreters that we work with to help us learn your language and help assist us in hearing what you got to say. So don't feel
I love
like
that.
you're too far reach. We can assist you.
I love that. I love that. And being a mediator by trade. And listen, for the folks that don't know this man, Matrix George, let me tell you, this boy started half the trouble in the household. So it is ironic and half hilarious that he is now a mediator.
Yeah.
The person that started the fight is now trying to avoid the fight.
Yes. So that's why I'm really qualified.
He's like, I know where you were because I was there.
Exactly.
And I want to highlight this shout out to your friend for really participating, Mr. Emmanuel. Says, listen, let me put my spectacles on so I don't ruin my eyes. See, asking a question, do you need to be heard, hugged, or helped is a great question for women to ask men. I love that. I love
Yes, it
that.
is.
I love
Yes, it
that.
is.
And then you also said, what a great combo. Oh,
Oh, thank you.
thank you
Thank you,
so
Mr.
much. See,
Victor. I
he's
appreciate
already,
you, my
listen, we got at least one person that's saying that we should take this thing on the road.
brother. He'll
Yeah,
be our
well,
first guest.
exactly. We're going to have to get Mr. Emmanuel. Now, we're not going to fly you in from Nairobi now. You on your own for that, but no,
That's
I'm
Mr.
just kidding.
Victor right there.
That's when we have the studios and people have to be in person for the studios. So that'll be good. Listen, I'm putting it in the universe. Like we got to manifest some things. But
Yes.
I want to thank everyone that was here for 100 episode and just listening to us, just have conversations about, what's going well, my journey, and even hear a little banter about how women and men think. See, sometimes it's always good to have, different perspectives because although you say the sky is green, people might see it as a lime green and some people might see it as a hunter green, but it's still green. So we want to really just close the gap on conversations between women and men. We want to amplify both sets of voices so that everyone feels heard. And, we just want things to be peaceful. So thank you so much for listening. Do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is scrolling at the bottom of the screen at Save Our Sisters SOS on YouTube. Follow, like, and share and subscribe. And also, of course, please purchase the book. Let me reach back. The Bonds of Sisterhood, A Guide to Building Your Tribe.
Pull it further back. There you go.
It is on sale. It is on sale on Amazon, Walmart.com. It's not on Target yet. And if you want to, of course, if Ingram Spark, if bookstores and libraries would like to order in bulk, it is there as well. But Amazon, everywhere. You can go to tbos2025.net and all the information will be there. That is the book's website. I want to thank Mr. Matrix George for joining me and actually being my interviewer for today. I loved it. I think we really got some stuff out there, and I think we got some good information out to the folks.
Yes, we did. And again, it's my pleasure being here.
All right, folks. And again, if you want Matrix and I to have our own podcast where we talk about, since he is a mediator, we will bring issues to you and let you decide, and we will discuss the issues, and then he would be able to say what he would do as a mediator. If you want us to go ahead and have a podcast together outside of this where we just talk about the differences between how men and women think, put a thumbs up in the chat so we know that you are listening to the end. And we will talk soon. Matrix, any last words?
No, that's it. Other than stay great, and the New Year's coming up, and I hope everybody has their New Year's resolution put together to start the year off right.
Perfect. All right. Well, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And we will talk soon. Peace and blessings.
Guys, take care.